Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is the last day of 2015. That's right, it's December 31st. Happy New Year. And I have chosen today to launch my We Are One talk show. Yay!
Yay!
So, let's all celebrate, because today we're going to start off with me. I'm the diva, so I have to be first. But that's okay. We're going to have a nice little conversation with my sister-in-law who is behind the camera scene. Say, what's up, Vern?
What's up?
Alright. She's going to ask me a series of questions and we're going to have a nice little conversation to share with everybody. And please leave your comments, concerns, whatever you need to right after this video. And I promise you that we will go ahead and respond to them and have nice conversations. We're going to get the awareness started on this mental health journey. So, here we go.
Hi, Andrea.
Hey, Vern, what's up?
Everything's well. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see. I'm the mother of 2 grown sons and 5 rambunctious grandchildren that keep me busy. I have lots of siblings. And I was raised by a single mom.
What was your life like with your family?
It was kind of crazy, being raised by a single mom who was also a parole agent. So being in that whole law enforcement thing, you had to make sure you was on your P's and Q's, because last thing you want mom to do was lock you up. And also, being the third of 4 children, I definitely had that middle child thing going on, and was always stuck with my older brother who did not want a little sister. So therefore, all the little tomboyish things that any girl could do, he had me doing. Like, we used to have rock fights and throw apricots at each other, or we used to jump off the roof of the house with umbrellas playing Mary Poppins, or we just did all kinds of off-the-wall stuff, but it was fun.
Wow, sounds very interesting. So, you say you're a mother. How did your life change after you became a mother?
Life became kind of weird, because I started being a mom at 17, and my mother was not very happy with me being pregnant so young. She had lots of plans for me. She wanted me to go to college. She wanted me to be something greater than what she was, raising 4 kids by herself. So I decided that I was just going to involve my children in every single thing that I did. But being a single mom and raising 2 boys alone was very hard, especially as young as I was. I had no skills. I had dropped out of high school because I had a difficult pregnancy, and I ended up getting my GED after my second child was born. So I had a series of dead-end jobs that was trying to help me to take care of my family, and my children and I just we were like best friends.
Okay, so you had I wanted to ask you to describe your relationship with your children, although you said that you and your children are like best friends, but describe that relationship for us.
Well, we were on our own quite a bit, and I really didn't have the opportunity to talk to my mom a lot because she worked a lot. So when I had issues or challenges or whatever, when I wasn't trying to figure out how to do it by myself, I would talk to my boys. The boys always knew what was going on, and we kind of stuck together. And I worked a lot. I often worked 2 and 3 jobs at a time trying to take care of the boys. So I didn't have a lot of time to spend with them. So to make up for that, I used to take them to the park at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning and go play on a school night. Yeah, sometimes they would be tired, but it was my way to spend time with them. And when I wasn't doing that, then I would go and spend time with them at school. I would sit in their classrooms and help or supervise or just be there because I wanted to have that time with them.
Oh, that's very interesting and commendable that you wanted to spend that time with your boys. Well, we're here and we're discussing about mental health. So when exactly was it that you found out that you had a mental health illness?
Well, let's see. I think I had always been kind of different because my mind was always going off in some weird way. I didn't have normal thoughts like other people did, like let's go play baseball or volleyball or something like that. I wanted to go and do cartwheels down the middle of busy intersections, or go hang gliding along the ocean without a boat, or just anything that was off the wall or unusual. And I always thought this was normal. My family seems to think that I'm the fun one, because when we go to restaurants and there's birthdays, I get the entire restaurant to sing to everybody, whether they want it or not. But what really brought a flashlight to what was going on was the day my children grew up and left home. It was like the end of the world to me, because I had never envisioned life without children. And I went into an extreme numb-like type of depression, to the point to where I was suicidal. I would not get out of bed. I would not shower, wouldn't eat. I just couldn't move, because I couldn't imagine life without my babies. And so my mother told me to get up after she dumped a big old bucket of water on me, because she told me I stunk. And she said, you need to go talk to somebody. There is life without children. And so I went to go see a therapist. This guy was not nice at all, and I'm trying to be kind. He asked me what was the longest I had ever stayed awake, and I told him 7 days straight. He looked at me and pointed his finger at me. He said, "You have bipolar disorder."
Oh, really?
He didn't explain what it was. Didn't tell me how I got it. Didn't tell me if I could give it back. He just said, "Take this pill, don't get fat, come back and see me."
Wow.
I was so mad at him, I just about beat him up. I was going to jump across that table and beat him up, because I thought he put a sign across my forehead that said, "You are crazy, we'll be crazy forever. We're going to put you in the hug me jacket, put you away, and never let you out ever again to see the light of day." Not fun.
Wow. How did your family react to finding out that you had mental illness?
Well, at first they were like, "Nah, well, we always knew you was kind of weird, but I don't know about crazy. But after a while, they began to help me understand a little bit. And they're like, "Well, yeah, maybe you do. Maybe you do have that. Maybe that's why you've been acting so different."
Oh, wow. So the doctor talked to you, and he wasn't very friendly, wasn't very nice or kind, and your family did acknowledge that you did have some weird ways. But how long did it take you to accept your diagnosis?
It took me over a year. I fought it. I developed agoraphobia, which is the fear of going outside, because I was afraid that if I went outside, people would see that I was bipolar. People would see the PTSD, and I began to develop a real bad anxiety. I was scared to look at anyone, scared to go anywhere. I was literally frozen in fear. I would look at my front door and would faint, just pass out flat on my face as a result. So it took a little while, and my mom told me I needed to really take a look at what was happening and what was going on with me, and explore why I got the diagnosis. And once I did that, I picked up a book called it was by Kay Jamison Redfield, or maybe Redfield Jamison, I always get it mixed up. But the book was called An Unquiet Mind. And I remember a specific sentence in there where she talks about how she was going to college abroad, and how she was doing donuts in her car in the middle of the campus. And it reminded me of all the unusual things that I ever did. And I said, okay, maybe I do have bipolar. And that's what made me decide to accept it.
Wow. What an ordeal. So how did your family and your friends and all these other people, once you accepted it, and what did you do to go into recovery from your bipolar?
Well, my friends weren't quite ready to accept that. They were like, okay, we know you're a little weird, and that's okay. We've learned how to accept that. But to turn around and tell us that you're not that crazy, Andrea. What's really going on? Why don't you quit joking with us? And I had to explain to them that it wasn't a joke. It was something that I had managed to develop over time. I had to learn a little bit more about it. And the only way I could learn about it was to go on the internet, because I had found a couple of therapists who tried their hardest to help me. I went through a year of 15 different medications that every side effect known, I got it.
Wow.
It was horrible. I went through hallucinations. I went through vomiting. I went through weight gain. You name it, I went through it. And the last therapist I had, she was such a nice woman. She says, Andrea, we're going to have to find some kind of alternative method for you. And that's what turned me to the internet, because living in Bakersfield, California at the time, there was nobody there who could give help back in 2006. And I found a school in Baltimore and proceeded to go. This school helped me learn about the different symptoms, about coping skills, and how to manage.
And what was the name of that school?
It was called STEP, which is Shapiro Training Employment Program. It's a division of Goodwill. And when I went, it was so wonderful to be around other people who were like me. I finally didn't feel alone anymore. You know, it was like, yay, somebody else understands. Somebody else has got it too. You know, so it was really good to be able to socialize with others.
So did you come to the East Coast just for a short time, or have you come to the East Coast to totally relocate?
At that time, I had come to learn. I was curious. California was never a good friend to me. Never really felt like I fit in, even though I'd been there since 1972. But the East Coast gave me a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose. I began to discover who I was for the first time in my entire life. I had no longer began to think of myself as somebody's mother or somebody's daughter or somebody's sister. I was an individual. I'm Andrea. And then I stopped identifying myself with bipolar. I wasn't Andrea bipolar. I am now Andrea who lives with bipolar disorder.
How did your family feel about you coming out here to the East Coast?
They thought I had lost my scruples. They figured I had finally lost it for the last time, and they were just done. And they said, well, we're used to you doing off-the-wall stuff. You'll make it back here when you feel like it, so gone with.
Wow. So with all of the changes and everything going on, moving to the East Coast, at what moment in your life changed your perception on mental illness? What happened to you to make you have a completely different perception about mental illness?
Finding NAMI. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I remember I was working at Catholic Charities, and I saw my very first In Our Own Voice presentation. And a wonderful gentleman named Royal Riddick, God rest his soul, I listened to him tell his story about his road of recovery and dealing with mental illness, and how he lost his children, and having to go through PTSD symptoms. And it hit me like a rock. I was like, I need to do that. I need to go and show other people that they're not alone. I know there's got to be other people out there who have questions, who are feeling as though they don't know what else to do. So that's what made me change. It's like, all right, and I'm a diva too. Oh yes. So I get to go out and show off and explain and express and help others come to terms in their own personal realities. That's what helped me change my mind.
Wonderful, wonderful. So where do you find yourself at today as an individual?
As an individual, I find myself secure within myself. Because there used to be a time I didn't like me at all. I thought I was ugly, didn't want to be a girl, just didn't want to be. I have to admit, I tried to commit suicide every year from the time I was 14 till the time I was 35.
Wow.
And something went off in me the last time I tried, when my mother came, and she's like, I don't need that. Why would you be so selfish? Don't do that. And so it helped me to discover who I was as a person. I had to learn what I like, what I value, who I was as an individual. So how do I see myself as an individual? Shoot, I'm Drea.
Good. Doing well. Well, it sounds like that even just knowing your diagnosis and learning your diagnosis, and it allowed you to become yourself. You embraced yourself and found yourself. And now, what are your plans for your future? With all this new information and this Diva Drea, what's the plans for the future?
Honey, the universe cannot contain me. I plan to continue to step right on out there on the ledge and watch me fly higher than Tinkerbell, because everyone needs to know that we are not the monsters under the bed. I look just like everybody else. I cannot
Amen.
tell you how many times I have encountered people and they look at me and go, "You're a grandma? Oh my God, you're 48?" It's like, yeah, okay, so I don't look my age, I don't look like a grandma, and I definitely don't look like somebody who's going to come up and blow your brains out or go shoot up the newest school. Because, all of us who live with mental illness, we don't do that. We actually have jobs. We lead normal lives, or lives that you guys consider normal. We just have an extra special flair. We have socialized. We go to school. We have families. We raise our family. And our families love us.
Yes.
So that's where I see myself. I see myself expanding this knowledge and sharing it with others and helping others come to terms not only with themselves, but helping public awareness see that ordinary people have mental health issues, just like a lot of those celebrities that are coming out today.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, let me ask you, if you were to meet someone who had their first experience or awareness of their diagnosis of bipolar, what would you share with them? How would you describe yourself from then to now? And what would your description of yourself be right now, and where you see yourself going?
I would quote Prince. I would tell him, "So you finally found that purple banana before they put you in the truck, huh?" Basically, I would tell him, you know what? You're not alone. There are so many people out there who have so many different diagnoses, from depression, schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar, PTSD, anxiety, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yes.
And it's not always as prevalent as it is when you see that person walking down the street talking to themselves. Everybody has a little bit of something that's going on with them. But the important part is when you talk to them like an individual, like a person outside of whatever diagnosis they have, you have a friend for life. And that's how I would approach them.
Wonderful. Well, it has been a pleasure having you here, a guest on your own talk show, Andrea.
Yes, and my sister-in-law is the bomb. Her brother, he puts up with me. Why is beyond me, but what they say, it is what it is. And I thank you all for joining in and seeing my very first episode of this talk show. And I have to put a shout out to Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, because I'm reaching out to you to help me get this off the ground, get it going national, because we need to bring the awareness. Awareness is key. Thank you all. Enjoy your evening. Have a happy new year, and see you soon.
Okay.